Hey, what's up guys? Tyler here with Secure Team, and in today's strangeness happening around the world, I want to start off with a discovery off the coast of Antarctica on a small stretch of icy mountains separated from the continent and surrounded by the frigid waters, where it almost appears as if something has crash landed down on the snowy surface below. So what we've discovered here is located, again, in a little island chain known as South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands. And as you can see here, it is located right at the northern tip of Antarctica and just southeast of Brazil. And before we get started here, this island here, which is basically just a piece of Antarctica that it seems floated away potentially millions of years ago due to tectonic movements, is the exact same surface structure as Antarctica. Mountainous, covered in ice and snow, nothing there, completely barren. That was until we discovered this, and what appears to me at least to be some sort of massive, elongated or cigar-shaped object that at some point, and we don't know when, came to a screeching halt in the snow, leaving behind it almost a 1,000-meter long trail. And what's even more interesting, and we'll get to this object in a minute, is what the trail leads to. So here we are on Google Earth, and it looks as if this imagery was taken back in 2011. So we can see that this massive object is directly next to this huge mountain peak here. And you'll notice that leading back from the trail that this object created, moving across the snow and ice, it appears as if there's some damage that has been done to the side of this mountain, where we can see this wave of debris extending outwards from the mountain itself, with the main object and trail coming out of it, smashing its way in a very sharp trail. That's another thing about this path that this object has carved out. It's very sharp, and it doesn't look like your typical trail made by a snowball or, just a piece of ice tumbling and rolling across the hillside. This trail here is extremely sharp and almost looks like it was created by something artificial, something flat, almost as you would think if something had wheels on it, or I guess you would think of a bobsled where it has the metal sled bars on either side. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, but this object is definitely not a vehicle with wheels or any kind of bobsled, because we've measured it, and the object itself comes to around 63 meters in length from end to end. And so back to this area of mountain here that some have said looks as if this object came down from the sky and hit it, actually breaking away parts of the mountain as seen from this debris field, as if it's been ejected outwards, taking this massive chunk out of the side of it, and the ejecta spreading outwards and curving to either side, with the normal rocks and pieces of ice and mountain stopping all around the same distance from one another. The only thing that actually went further is this mysterious object, because it apparently had the force needed to continue on this trail of over 1,000 meters before finally skidding to a halt. And so let's go back to this object here, and I'm going to show you a zoomed in shot of this trail, just so you guys can see how clear and cut and precise it is. And as you're seeing this, to this day, even with a lot of this snow being blown over it, the trail is completely visible for the most part. Two clear-cut, razor-sharp lines leading up to this mystery cigar-shaped object here that obviously looks as if it's been also covered in snow and ice over, who knows, days, months, even years, depending on when this satellite imagery was taken. And so we can see on top of it, we have a lot of rigid and sharp ends, also casting shadows over to the side. Even the shadows themselves at their longest, specifically this one at the end, measure around 12 meters long, which gives us sort of an idea of how tall this object is. We already know how long it is. Now, the width between these two tracks here comes out to around 9 meters, giving us a further idea of the width of this object. So 9 or 10 meters across and almost 70 meters long, with a trail left behind it of around 1,000 meters leading back to this broken mountain here. And again, guys, We've got a lot of theories as to what this could be, something that came from the air and crash landed, or something that actually came from the mountain itself, or something that was buried potentially below or in the mountain for who knows how long, that decided to break free, making its way across the snowy plain here before coming to a stop for whatever reason. We don't know if it even did come to a stop because, again, this is just a single snapshot taken by a satellite orbiting the Earth, so we don't have multiple shots after this as to how far the object went, whether it was actually stopped in its tracks, or whether it was in the middle of moving as the satellite image was taken. But one thing's for sure, I don't see any other tracks or anything that would lead me to believe that this area has been visited by mankind. I don't see any installations anywhere. The shape of this thing and the sheer distance of just how far this thing moved leads me to believe this is not a piece of the mountain or a chunk of ice, because as we see back at the area where it looks as if the mountain has been broken, potentially by this object itself, we see that most of the ejecta has been blown out and reaches its final resting point maybe 20 meters out from the mountain, while this other object goes nearly 1,000 meters. So it's a big mystery. And, it almost reminds me of a submarine or something like that. And so that's another question. Could it be a submarine that got stuck in the ice? But then again, why would a submarine be on land? Underneath the ice, it's mountainous, it's frozen. I don't see any reason for a submarine. And again, would a submarine create such an explosion in the side of this mountain? And I guess that's the question I want to ask you guys today. So, what is this anomalous object in the middle of nowhere, depicting almost what looks like a crash landing, clipping the side of this mountain? I will put the coordinates to it down below, and you can feel free to head over and check it out yourselves. In the meantime, let's get to some other news today. We have some new reports of rivers now drying up or disappearing overnight from areas in the United States. Now, if you follow the channel, you know that we've been talking about a lot of the beaches around the world where people have woken up to seeing their shores completely bone dry of water, leaving sometimes hundreds of fishing boats stranded on the muddy, dry surface below, a phenomenon that seems to be increasing around beaches all over the globe. And now we have a new report of water disappearing from both the Pamlico and Neuse rivers in North Carolina, where both of these two tidal rivers that flow into Pamlico Sound in North Carolina were found to be almost completely dry, and what some are saying was caused by, quote, strong winds. And you're seeing some photographs here showing these rivers completely bone dry, with the boats sitting down on the dry riverbed below. Here are some more very high-res images taken from the Jane Lassiter Facebook page. So awesome images provided by her, where she titles the post of this, quote, "We don't have high-low tides, we have blow tides." Again, relating back to the idea that the wind is blowing these waters away, and from a lot of people who live around this area that I've spoken to, this is not something that happens all the time. This is something new, and that they are definitely not used to. And so as you're seeing here, here's an image of a boat sitting here taken from downtown Washington, North Carolina. Dry docks, muddy tires sticking out of the dirt below. Water completely vanished. It was just there the day before. And apparently, according to other reports I'm reading, this is happening across the globe, with other riverbanks drying up overnight with the so-called strong winds as the culprit. So, what do you guys think? You couple this with all of the other instances of dry riverbeds, creeks, lakes, and ocean shores that have been vanishing lately, leaving many locals to these areas who understand that the tides come in, the tides come out, but this is almost something different, as I said earlier. There's just something different going on here. So with that, lastly today, we have a video of a UFO sighting of yet again another unknown object seen passing the moon on a viewer's telescope, and it happens real quick, so check this out.
See, now we can go over.
Why isn't mine
Relax, we can. So you go over here and zoom in.
Yeah, when you sent me, I was like, what the fuck is that? Like,
Look, you see that thing?
Okay, so this was posted by the YouTube channel Skipper Moynihan with the video titled, quote, "Not sure why, moon UFO or SAT," meaning satellite. Now, if you've watched a couple of our past videos, you'll know that this is eerily reminiscent of some other telescopic footage that we posted showing another one of these massive circular shadows or objects traversing the moon. And I posted another clip of that in a recent video where the object could be seen turning, making this sort of L shape, moving directly above the lunar surface. Now, in this case here with this new footage, I can't be sure whether this object is closer to the moon or whether it's in space somewhere. Could this be an orbiting satellite? Some have said that this object looks more triangular in nature than circular. I will leave that up to you guys as I'm showing you this still image. I'm trying to get the closest contrast-enhanced shot of the object as possible. Now, as to why the viewer stopped recording just as the object had appeared, he said that, quote, "I had bumped my phone, which was attached to the telescope." However, what he did do was upload a second video after he had begun recording again, wherein which he captured the object actually leaving the bottom of the moon, as you'll see here.
or is that not left?
No, we saw that.
Right there, down the left. Right there.
You're
Boom,
right.
it's gone.
And so, yeah, I don't know what this is, guys, but it certainly is, at this point, an unidentified flying object. So we will add it to the file in the list of mysterious objects seen traversing the moon. I think that everybody, if you can and have the means, should invest in a telescope, as well as a system that allows you to record, and hopefully we can get more great footage like this. So again, big thanks to the viewer. I'll put the links to all of these videos down below. And with that, that is all I have for you guys today. So tell me what you think. The strangeness continues around the world, and as such, we will continue documenting it here. So be sure to subscribe on your way out if you haven't yet. Stop by and check out our Secure Team merch. Support the channel as YouTube continually demonetizes channels like ours who are trying to get the truth out. Support us on Patreon if you like. All the links to that down below. I really appreciate it, guys, and let's keep this channel going. So have a great rest of your night, and I will see you all back in just a bit.